killed the market for, of course. So now this had killed the market for, of course. All right, you're welcome on Black Hot Fire Network. It's Africa Maria with my colleague INNOSSETU. We are broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda, and good evening. Today is Wednesday.
12.
Yeah, the 12th of June. Which is evening here. And good morning, good evening. For those who are just waking up now, those who are heading to work. Yeah. Today's topic is quite that is money away. Now was in the moon. But anyway, before let INNOSSETU first say hi to you guys and
Good evening, everyone who is watching us here on Black Hot Fire Network. Let me hope your day's been so good. For those that are just waking up, let me hope your night was cool. Like she said, we are broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda. And my name is INNOSSETU. For those that are watching us, for those that are watching us from YouTube, Black Hot Fire Network too. Thanks for that. And if you're watching us for the first time, endeavor to subscribe and like Black Hot Fire Network videos and shows. And by the way, when if I told you a subscriber, if I told you subscribed to this YouTube channel, whenever our shows are just coming in, you get a notification directly. So subscribing is very important. For those that are watching us from Facebook, Black Hot Fire Radio Station, endeavor to like and follow the page, as well as Twitter.
Mukara kuti gwagwagule soli mukumboni aba. Anyway, today's topic is about the illicit armed trade in Africa. So the illicit arms, of course, The illicit arms trade in Africa is a significant issue that affects the security and stability of the continent. Now, according to recent statistics, almost 80% of illicit small arms and light weapons in Africa are unregistered and unmarked. Now, the United Nations has reported that more than 40 million firearms are imported into Africa, which contributes to the proliferation of these weapons. Now, efforts to tackle this problem include international cooperation and the implementation of measures to trace and manage ammunition. Now, as well as, of course, the establishment of effective regulatory system to control small arms trading activities. We know that the impact of small arms and light weapons is so destructive that it has been compared to, of course, diseases in terms of number of lives claimed. The challenge is compounded by factors such as the legacy of colonial domination, widespread poverty, porous borders, and competition over natural resources. Now, these conditions make it difficult for African states to establish control over the trade and use of small arms. However, there is a growing recognition of the need for equal participation of women and civil society in decision-making process related to this disarmament. Man, now, addressing the illicit arms trade requires a comprehensive approach that includes political will, public awareness, technical assistance, and financial support from international community. Now, it's a complex issue that demands sustained attention and action from all stakeholders involved. Recently, we have, of course, we have realized that we have got a huge population or a certain number of youths or African people that have arms that are not really registered within the government. There is a story that is trending all over Facebook where there is he was a Nigerian but was UK based, and he committed some crimes in UK. He was taken to prison. He spent there some time coming back. His businesses had, of course, collapsed and all that. He came back to Nigeria. He wasn't. He is a Nigerian who did not grow from Nigeria. So when this guy came, of course, like 2 weeks ago, maybe 1 week and a half ago, he killed two Nigerian young ladies. One lady, of course, was in a relationship with a certain Muzungu man, and her meeting one of her friend who was said to have been dating this man for apparently something like a duration of a year to two. Well, called a friend to go and meet with this particular guy, and unfortunately, that was the end of their life when they met this guy. But later on, through during the time of investigation, they got to understand that this guy even had arms. He had guns, he had light arms, he had staffs, and he was in a country like Nigeria. Not everyone possesses guns, but this particular guy has a gun. Now we also know we know a lot of people who don't come out publicly to, of course, to let other people know that they have guns with them. But the truth still remains that most of these people have guns. Check it out. Now, you remember there is a time, um, before I tell you this. This particular guy in Nigeria was actually a threat to the community. Check it out. The police knew he had a gun, he had given them money, so they knew he had some pistols. Each time he was out there, he would scare people with this gun and all that. But of course, he would scare people with with a gun. But still, life continued because he had the little money that could enable him live a luxurious life in of course Nigeria, until he killed these two young women, and also he was killed after that by the police that was of course looking for him after committing this murder. So we have seen countries like in the US and other countries where you can possess a gun, you can register your gun, uh, and possess it, and you are able to use it for protection or move with it where need be. But this is not the case in many countries in Africa. And um, and yet we know that there are a lot of prominent people in Africa who have guns. Now, if at all, whenever there is something that the government or the society shies away or pretends to not know or tries to say it is something else, it's like you're giving liberty to other people. Because we have we know a lot of celebrities who have guns,
mm,
and these guns are not registered really, and even the government doesn't want to talk about it. You remember we saw Bobby Wine with guns,
mm,
and they were his personal guns.
mm,
Where he got them from the UK, but we know that Bobby Wine was once a handler who used to. He was someone who used to clean, you know, more especially for the son of the president and the president of Uganda himself. So at times they would do some dirty deals at his beach, and he's the one who would ride the boat together with what if you are told they want to assassinate someone or whatever. He was the quickest person because first of all he had the bad guys, he had those who could do the work and all that. But anyway, um, but this guy uh, having this kind of role that he plays, of course he had access to guns. And the same story still goes to other people, except that for the government or for people to come out and declare, especially in Africa, that let the local people have guns, it is threatening to the government itself.
mm,
The African governments are so afraid of allowing Africans to have guns, to have control over their guns. But yet, we are seeing there is a lot of circulation of guns, new model, updated guns, new technological guns being introduced here in Africa. Certain guns that even the government does not have, but the people who are more especially the rebels, mm, having access to these kind of guns. We know very well before even anything, we have border relationship, we have so it whatever thing that you're bringing down to Africa or to a different country should pass through, that border. So how are these people able to have these guns? Definitely there is someone who is up there who is doing this. Now, we have seen that a lot of Africans have been, I mean, Africa as a country, it is one of the countries that, of course, has great market to, of course, guns. And this is why we see that countries like Russia, apart from all the other deals that Russia wants with Africa, it also wants to, of course, market its guns or machineries to the African countries. And I think Africans are buying this idea Really. So, with this whole, we have realized that there is a lot of guns than what the Africans know. Because if the rebels are able to have guns and surplus, hmm,
For sale.
surplus guns, if at all we have people on black market selling guns, now these are the things that every government doesn't want. You know, there is always a proverb that Africans say the moment you let something out, everyone got to learn about it. Now, I think the African government doesn't really want to always talk about the gun that is in the within the people, because we've seen a lot of people being shot dead. We've seen robbers coming with guns. We've seen people, of course, robbing houses, banks, and money, lending organizations. Small.
Terrorism. That will like the different, the various assassinations like we have had in Uganda
Mm,
in the recent years. These are, of course, assassinations that have been done by people who are having guns that are not registered.
mm,
Yet the government claimed that all the guns that are in Uganda they are registered and they
mm,
are known. Again,
mm,
so where do these guns pass through into Uganda? And the threat is not only on the governments or all on African governments, it is to everybody in a country
mm,
because we have seen prominent people in a government being, of course, being assassinated,
mm,
like army officers
mm,
of high ranks. We have seen businessmen being killed. Even average people have been killed by the same guns, which are not known by the governments. And if it's not only in Uganda only. When investigations are done, uh, like we don't have, apart from knowing the type of the gun,
mm,
we don't get to know more about these guns.
mm,
Okitegeera?
mm.
Yani, where did it come from? Okitegeera? I remember there are people who were arrested. I think it was after COVID, after the attempted assassination
Mm.
of the other general, that
Katumba.
yeah, that Minister of Transport and
Mm,
Public fucking Richard. So when that guy was when they tried to assassinate that guy, they arrested a lot of people,
mm,
a lot of people. Then the people that they were suspecting, actually, they did not get the real people.
mm,
Okitegeera?
mm.
The people that were got
We
were
are suspects.
suspects.
Mm.
Okitegeera? That's why abantu bano babattirangawo.
Eh,
Onjukira bulungi.
babatiranga instant.
We bakusanga tugeze nga ba Innocent bamusuubira wano ne bajja wano mu kisaakaate bakubirawo amasasi babattirawo. Nga bagamba mbu ye abadde yerwana mbwayagala mbabadde asikako omusirikale emundu staff babatira all of them babatirangawo
Yatuma order. Mwana ejjukira yafiira.
babatirangawo tewaliwo byakuwoza ate watawati babatirangawo. But among these people that were arrested
I really didn't know.
babatirangawo abantu be bakwatanga babatirangawo. Kati what the media said that these people were trying to snatch the guns from the army
Mm,
and the officers.
mm.
So that's what these people, the police and the army that were claiming. Nenga mazima eyewitness, the people that were on ground, were bamulabirako bamasasi. Nga tannaba nakwewozaako ne waba tadduse.
Ate buli omu n'asirika. Can you imagine I didn't know about that?
So, like I was saying, a lot of people were arrested during that time. They tried to assassinate one of the army generals in the Ugandan army, but a lot of people were arrested in this. But among the people that were arrested, there were some people that were caught with guns. There were people that were caught with guns that were found with guns. After these people, like after of course getting these guns, these are guns that were not registered. These are guns that nobody knew that they were even existing in the country. And what we normally have in African countries is that whenever investigations about guns are made in Africa, they are not linked to the source or to the source where these people get buy these guns. They just link everything to what? Rebels. Which together they don't link to this because the same person who sells the guns to the government is the same person who sells them in an illicit way, who sells them illegally. Is the same person that like he just plays on the minds of people. Okitegeera, it is one person who sells these guns to the government and to these illicit people, and it's the same person who sells these guns illicitly. Okitegeera, because yeah, we now have we now so we have had actually it is not only in Uganda but the entire Africa. It's like we can't get rid of this illicit armed trade without making a thorough over having copyrighted deals with these people that sell guns to Africa. Okitegeera, bo beefuula nti batunzi butunzi, they are just selling guns, but they sell guns to everyone. However much
bakola mu black market gandi ya bulijjo
eh,
baregistered black market.
anti labayo, Omurussia ajja kuguza Uganda ttanka n'emmundu, kyokka n'omuntu ajja nga ssekinoomu ng'ayagala ggula amuguze. There are no laws. Auntie, why? There are no laws that are governing this business, this trade, because there are other products. We have seen other products. So Gamba, for me, I only receive coffee from Uganda. Webanga see Uganda, I don't buy. Okitegeera? But these people, they just sell guns to everyone. Whether you're taking it in wholesale, whether you're taking it in retail, bakuguzanga wooli. Okitegeera? Bakuguzanga wooli. Because we see that apart from the tanks and the fighting jets, we see like Africans are having too much of these. Actually, they are termed as small guns. Why? Watch. Because there are no terms and conditions and regulations governing this trade, this arms trade in Africa. Actually, it might not be like kiyinza obutaba mu nsi endala, by the way, but in Africa, it is like that. Africans don't buy guns from their fellow Africans. There is someone bigger. There is someone behind it. Ziki. Okay. So there is someone, there is someone behind this selling of guns who is bigger than that we may think in terms of selling guns. Okitegeera? Recently we were talking about the M23 rebels in Congo, of which Congo claims that these rebels are supported by Uganda and Rwanda. I don't know. Rwanda and Uganda, they are not super friends in you. Uganda and Rwanda, they are not two friendly countries. I don't fear to say this. But why is it they cooperate in making rebels. Kimala abantu waliwo ekitategeerekekaawo bulungi. These Congo people, they are not sure about who funds these rebels, but these are rebels that are having up-to-date weapons. 2024 model weapons. Okitegeera? They are the weapons they use in their attacks. Bazijjawo. Do we have enough in African countries that buys these guns in wholesale and sell them to these rebels? Okitegeera? So that is a challenging thing, and this, of course, I said it doesn't affect an average African person only. It affects everyone in the community, in the society. We have seen businessmen who have been robbed by the same guns, and whenever investigations are done about these guns, then there is no conclusion. There are inconclusive results uh, about these guns that are used to kill people. Okitegeera? I remember during COVID time in Masaka wali waguddeyo uprising. There was an uprising of robbers in Masaka. But when the police made thorough investigations, there were two Congolese. They are working as cooks on a certain school. One was working as a cook, and the other was working as a security guard with an arrow. So nobody in the society, nobody in my area knew that this guy had a gun. But this was the guy who had a gun. Whenever it could become evening, these guys could rob during the day. Sawanga Bilezechiro at 8 p.m. in the evening. These guys, they could rob nga basalako ekkubo kati ngaawo. Waliwo abantu batawali batandika okunyagula buli omu. They start stealing, and by the way, they could target market day. They had 2 guns. Those guys, they were Congolese. They had 2 guns. So one time these people bagwa mumbi. There is an army guy sleeps that side of it's called Ibujja. Ebibazaala Shiv. Says. He said says that side. So when this guy was passing, so these people had made a red block. So they were like, oh, where was Subama? Emmotoka neeyimirira. Oli musirikale. Bwe bamugamba nti Sumama bagenda okugulawo ne batandikirawo okkuba.
Basirikale bani?
Akuba babbi abakongo, those 2 Congolese men. Yatandikirawo okkuba ate mu magulu. N'abakuba ne badda wali. So how, like, police atandika investigating after taking these people to the hospital. They are now good in good conditions. Now they took the police where they were keeping these guns. Nobody knew. These guns were not registered, but these people had killed a number of people. They had killed like 15 people in 2 weeks. Business people, waliwo n'omukazi gwe bakuba amasasi ku luggi, gwe bakuba amasasi ku gate ye kwennyini. At 8 in the evening, they shot this woman dead. They took 2 million, 2 Ugandan shilling million. Never mutta. Ate, stupidly enough, these people said bazijonganga bakazi. They could buy for people. They could buy for people alcohol, beer. Waliyeyo bayitayo adventing waberayo bungi. So these people could buy for they could buy for people beer stuff. They could buy for people beers, but these are people that were living in our community, my home area, with these guns. The guns were not registered. Nobody knew that these people were using these guns. Besides even rebels, besides rebels, we have seen people. No. Have you ever got any final report about the killing of the other blogger actually? Apart from identifying that the gun was M20 M1 M what something.
AK-47.
No, it was these black guns that are normally with the military. Those black guns, those black ones. Nga si teziriko kiti kyonna. Ezo simanyi bwe baziyita M oba biki. Or M53 stuff. Those guns they are normally black. Apart from identifying, and you have seen a lot of incidences happening. They are different guns. They are different guns. The investigations they said that is the same gun that killed Muhammad Chigun, Bawamama Fina, that it is the same gun that killed Muhammad, this Kirumira. It is the same gun that killed that guy who was a police guy. It is the same guy that it is the same gun that has been used in a robbery across Kampala. The same gun. That's what they say, but they identify just a gun. But they have no about the source and where it came from.
naye nga kubanga kati wali wateekwa okuba nga waliwo akabinja ko kamanyikiddwa okukola ebyo.
Baali kazudde ebyo wano mu gavumenti ya Museveni tebabikolera mu mukwano. Tosobola kukola buyeekera wano mu gavumenti ya Museveni n'osavayivinga keziba ennaku bbiri abaali bakuba teketa wala we babanyiga. Tosobola wano tosobola kukola buyeekera. That's why we normally see that the police wakes up one day and raids Bobby Wine's home without no trace. Nga tetumanyi n'asonga. There are reasons why. There are days olunaku ne lukya ne bagamba poliisi ezinzeeko ewa Besigye that police is at Besigye's so this illicit selling of guns and buying of guns, to me, it should have regulations that are governing this. But we can't have regulations because we don't manufacture guns and we don't sell these guns. It is the other people that determine bani gwe baguze emmundu zaabwe, whom they sell to these guns. But this is threatening Africa's security system. Okitegeera? It is threatening. Southern Sudan is known as a country where, like, almost every person owns a gun. And whenever we see the guns we see that are used in robbery, in killing of people here in Uganda, most people link it to South Sudan and what? And Congo rebels. Most people link it to that. But we have seen bano abagundi bano babayita batya bano abalina ente ababeera abalinga abakalamojja ababeera e Kenya. Those people. Yeah, those people who rear cows. Those people have guns. They have guns. And even the Kalamajongs from this side, they have guns and are not registered. However, most of the guns have been taken from them. The government provides that forged security to those people. But they end up stealing them at the end. But we see we see uh, um, we see that this, of course, illegal arms trade in Africa has increased the conflict within Africa, within African countries. So, so the availability of illegal arms can fuel conflicts, as we've seen in Central Africa, where it has been linked to increased cross-border crime and threats to national reconciliation. Uh, And by the way, most of the time, after crimes being done by a certain group of people, they cross over to their countries.
Mm.
When those rebels that are linked to Uganda, they're called what?
Lord resistant and the
No,
LRI.
yeah,
Mm.
is it LRA?
LRI.
So that rebel group that is in Congo, it comes to Uganda, raids home, kills innocent people,
And
it
goes
goes
back.
back.
Mm.
So that is the problem of guns,
Mm.
illegal guns, even apart from the Central African Republic that we are looking at, but almost all African countries. For me, I can't live in South Sudan. However, a lot of people are going in for South Sudan.
For business.
Yeah, a lot of Ugandans are going in South Sudan because the South Sudan
Not
they are
dollar,
using
but they're
dollars.
in a value.
They're using dollars. So for me, I can't live in South Sudan. Let it be at the. I can't live in a community where everyone owns a gun.
Apart from the Ugandans.
Mm. So another, of course, negative issue we can that can be, of course, linked to illegal trade of arms is the socio-economic impact, where it impedes socio-economic development, with armed violence costing Africa an estimated 18 billion per year, so equivalent to annual sums of development aid to entire continent. There is that competition for the government and these illegal arms.
Mm.
The governments always fight harder to be stronger than the guns
Yeah, yeah.
that are not registered within the and most especially we see most especially we see that most of the African governments, actually including Uganda, they invest a lot of money in the army than in other things. Of course, which money could have been put to other things. Uganda puts a lot of money in security, buying the arms, and I don't think all the deals are illegal. By the way, it's not only that nti abantu ba bulijjo they are the people that engage in this illegal trade. Even the African governments, because it is normally cheaper to acquire these guns. Kitegeera? So the other issue is diversion of arms. We see that there are incidences where unauthorized transfers end up in the hands of unauthorized armed groups through diversion, such as when declared end users participate in unauthorized retransfers, or when armed groups seize national stockpiles.
Mababyo. Barobinga.
Yeah. And we see that even it also causes lack of transparency, where the international small arms trade is often opaque, so making it difficult to measure the extent of the trade and leading to scarcity of information and on ammunition transfers to Africa. Kitegeera?
Mm.
So these issues are the issues I've said above. They are causing a lot of insurgencies in African countries and insecurity,
Mm.
not only on governments but to everyone in Africa. And we have not seen international bodies coming out to, of course, to uh, to put sanctions. Let me say that,
Mm.
or to condemn these people that sell these guns or these arms to Africa, to different groups in Africa. I said these people they don't know who is rich. Like we are, this is the person that we must deal with, but they deal with everybody. Talaba nti Africa bagizanyisa, but Africa might be having ebyokulwanyisa ensi nabyo erina, because they are not regulated. Everything just flows in to Africa without regulation. So it is very hard to estimate the number of arms or weapons that Africa possesses per now.
Um, in a corrupt nation, a corrupt continent, like we know corruption is everywhere, of course.
Mm.
I just remembered.
Mm.
Oh, my mind I was crossed to a lunatic I was discussing with. I don't know. I want people's mind about a lot of stuff. Anyway, corruption is everywhere. One I know, but with the level of corruption in Africa and the rate of ignorance about a lot of things that are happening around the people, everyone in Africa probably feels like or thinks whoever should be having a gun should be a government official. And here in Africa, you should be to a certain rank for you to be able to have a pistol
Mm.
that you're going to be moving with all the time. But we have realized that we still have a lot of people who are yet to reach that level and they're having pistols. And we have seen scenarios where, let me say, military people have been pissed,
Mm.
like in the club,
Mm.
someone goes back where they sleep, comes out with a gun, and comes and kills and shoots dead at least a given number
Mm.
of people in that very place where he has pissed. We have seen scenarios where military personnel are killing their wives because
Killing
of
their colleagues.
cheating, killing their colleagues, because they suspect their colleagues are in relationships with their wives and all that. So, with people thinking that there is a free movement of gun
Mm.
within the trained military or within the security profession, um, it still leaves a lot of access to illegal ammunitions outside.
Mm.
Because we've seen, of course, people committing robbery, but these guns are coming from the government.
Mm.
Someone is giving them these guns. Someone is issuing them with these guns. They go and even the entire plan. All right. So the reason is when we have a lot, and then like you said, they say, I think it is, there are cases where we have seen small police posts being raided,
mm,
and people take guns.
mm,
And after some time, you see, after someone dies with a gunshot, they will tell you the gun that they stole from the other side
mm.
is linked to this and all stuff like that. Um, but who are the people? Who are the people behind these gun circulations? Who are the people behind the civilians possessing guns?
Why is it that they're not condemning these people that are supplying these arms, but they are condemning the people that are using them?
The buyers.
Which take it at the buyers, because I think controlling starts from the source.
Mm. And like you said, we are seeing a lot of guns moving from cross borders, from one border to another. We have seen a lot of Kenyan robbers coming down to Uganda to carry out robbery. And they have moved with these guns straight from Kenya to Uganda. Where do they pass with these guns? Don't you have enough security along the border apart from wanting to make sure that you stop this other usual trade? Don't you have enough security along the border? Why are people able to move with these guns in and out across the borders? And of course, we should always remember that it is very important that Africa lives or stays in this kind of chaos because a lot of people are benefiting from it. And we know they are specific. By the way, there is a certain article I was reading. It was saying that Germany was giving out guns on a loan to different rebels. And in exchange for minerals.
Mm.
Check it out. And these were the rebels basically in the Congo. You are given guns, you're promised to secure a certain mineral well, alright? You swear not to attack. Kuba kola minerals that you are attacking, right?
Mm.
This is the very funniest thing. Because the rebels,
Mm.
they don't attack these mineral areas.
In fact, they're peaceful.
Working every day,
Mm.
they don't attack because the people that run these mineral areas are the people who supply guns. If I give you these guns, I don't want to see you around my business.
Mm.
Ngwenda n'obukyande bayitali hati olina
So we see that um, uh, like the circulation
of these arms, it leads actually the way how crimes start. They start from these petty crimes to insurgencies. So so the illegal small trade, of course, in a global phenomenon, but we see that it is particularly centered in areas of the armed conflict. So the kinds of weapons in circulation, which range from firearms such as pistols and light machine guns to mortars and rocket propelled grenades, have become the weapons of choice for the majority of regional conflicts taking place today in Africa. So, the weapons which enter the illegal trade originate from both within and outside Africa, although Weapons weapons trafficking across borders in Africa is the primary source of illicit arms. In the vast majority of cases, sophisticated organizations and networks, often made up of criminals, corrupt security officials, and returning peacekeepers, are usually the ones who specialize in the moving of weapons across African borders. Together, hmm?
Mm.
So the mode of trafficking can range from large convoys carrying a significant amount of weapons and ammunition, or the so-called anti-trade, in which the weapons are smuggled across borders in smaller numbers but at a high rate. Together. So the lay of the land also makes a big difference. So if your factor is difficult of terrain, it makes it easier for the transportation of small arms and light weapons. So, we see that in some parts of Africa, the production of homemade arms, also known as craft weapons, is big business, producing everything from post-rudimentary pistols to sophisticated assault pistols. When we talk about Ghana only, for example, craft weapons are involved in 80% of the gun-related crimes, according to the Ghana Police Service. Mm. With Sierra Leone and the Ivory Coast ranked domestic craft weapons production almost significant source of illicit arms. So, the illegal arms trade also hinders development across the continent. If a large part of the continent is on fire, the successful implementation um, will be difficult. As we see that Togolese political, of course, uh, political system is challenged by the same factors. So, destabilizing the continent or African continent, it requires a lot. And we see that the illicit weapon trade in small arms has been at least partially blamed for the persistence of wars across African continent. Currently, approximately 30 million firearms are being circulated through Africa. So this is compared to an estimated 84 million in Europe. However, the number of firearms is less important than how they are being used. So the transfer of weapons between countries can be linked to increase in conflict in bordering regions by the same armed groups, which conflict frequently seemingly to follow the flow of guns. So uh, the conflict currently taking place in DR Congo or DRC or Congo and the ongoing conflict in Libya have also aided the proliferation and acquisition of small arms in the region. So violence has broken out in Liberia before moving towards to Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and Guinea. So the countries that are nearing these areas where that are conflicted, they are also in a bigger threat.
to end this, we see that we need regular monitoring and analysis of the new sources of illicit weapons. I said this actually even at the beginning of this show that the people that use these drugs they are blamed so much than the source where these guns or these arms come from. So, after knowing the new sources of illicit weapons, gaining a better understanding the demand factors which drive illicit arms flows and increasing the joint border initiatives are just some of the recommendations. To me, I can recommend it to various African countries because we see that for quite some time there has been a problem of managing the joint forces in Africa. And the problem, and there has been, of course, a withdrawal of forces time and time again from multinational joint task forces in different African countries. Of course, we know that we do not have enough security officers to man these porous borders because however much you protect borders, but you can't stop people from trading or smuggling these kind of arms within our African continent. But what I'm sure of, the handcrafted, the homemade crafted weapons that we have here in Africa, these are this the handcrafted weapons. Uh, do you know that most of the arms, most of the guns rebels are using here in Uganda, they are linked to Congo, ziva Congo na Southern Sudan. Jib Jabba says, "Hello Setu, I'm listening in background here. It's 11 a.m. Is Maria outside catching a kitchen roll? Stay well, bro." Yeah, I'm doing good, Jib Jabba. Yeah, I'm doing good. Let me hope you're also doing fine. Here it is exactly look here. Here it is 3 minutes past 6 here in Uganda. Oh, it is still early that side. It is still a morning. It is still early that side. Hey, Maria, she's in the building.
I'm here.
Yeah. Maria is right in the building. She can hear you. She can feel your comment right about now. So, Jibjaba, what is your take about the illicit armed trade in Africa that is going on? in Africa, the illicit armed trade. What do you talk about it? I was still telling you that most of the guns that of course that are illegal that we have in East Africa here, they are linked to Congo because Congo is going through. Um, yeah, we are okay. I'm working at home today. I hear her crying.
Ngoki?
Mpulira ng'okaaba.
Nze.
Mm, hear you crying. So most of the illegal guns that we are having here, they are linked to Congo because Congo has been having instabilities for almost its entire life. It has never had a peace. And even in these deals, most of the guns deals, the armed deals, they are done in Congo, brought to Africa. And Action Society. Hmm? Action Society.
Ntaddeko ganzi ntaddeko ekyo ne bandeetera gaani era naye bw'onaakalaba kayinza okuba kali wala Action Society naye teeka akakugyamu manyi singa obadde lulinga kusharinga ku WhatsApp yibijaba
Action Society, sir. Kendabe spelling ekigambo ekyo.
ekigambo
Action Society nga kuliko South Africa.
Action Society just capital A bwegimala ne capital S Society nga kuliko space
Nasibirabo.
kuliko content nyingi
Balina abantu benkana bati.
si bangi
Bali bameka?
ndamu
65.3.
ndamu and 65.3
Ngasikala.
wala
Kaliko ki?
aliko nange wankanoonya kusimusikala kali wala nnyo
Kaliko bigambo ki?
ate ka 2022
Kaliko bigambo ki?
over 26,000 South firearms lost.
I remember the time when Jibi Jabba said in a comment here that well, the US is the largest arms manufacturer, Europe next. So most ammo comes from the US and the EU. So until African nations make it the house of the West users, it's ravage or to destroy. So you have all the minerals produce gunpowder through Jibjaba. And actually, even this trade is not monetized, is not regulated. It doesn't have terms and conditions. It doesn't have like what like governs this trade. We have seen we have seen some besides the arms the arms deals or the arms trade. The other trade that we see that Europe or USA is making with Africa, it is limited. We see some goods that are sold in Africa only. We have seen such goods that are sold in Africa only,
Mm.
but we have not seen guns being sold to governments only.
Mm.
They are selling guns to everyone. Okitegeera?
Mm.
So if US and the EU, they are the big manufacturers of these guns. So why do they come out to, of course, to look surprised to see conflicts in Africa? Okitegeera?
Mm.
Okwetuuza obufoofu for like to sit down and this country is having instabilities stuff. They look at people, they make people to look like dictators. They don't talk about the guns they are supplying in an illegal way in African countries.
Kabuze.
Tabaddeko ki?
26,000. Kabuza nange omusikalawo.
Demand for justice.
Over 26,000 sacked, fires lost, firearms lost.
Millions wasn't not seeing stuff. So we have seen so like USA, is it among the countries that are having instabilities?
Mm.
Eh?
Mm.
Instabilities ziri waggulu nnyo. Political instabilities in terms of security.
Katola abateragisi babalumba.
I mean like people having guns.
Hey, America abantu balina gun. Abantu beekuba buli
Yeah,
lunaku.
then these people fight within themselves. They don't attack the government. Why? Ne wano omuntu abeera n'emmundu basically.
Abayagala kulumba.
Mm.
Kulumba mukulembeze.
Mm.
Amuyisemu amaaso.
Yeah, but we don't see it in up like why is it that we don't have that?
Kimanyi anti bali realistic kirabika. Manyi obukulembeze tebabukwatira obwabwe obukulembeze si bwa muntu. Si bwansiko. Obwaffe.
Yeah, bwansi. Kati wano mu Uganda obukulembeze bukyali bwansi.
Kali ensi yababuuza. Mwagala ogenda mu bukulembeze. Nti okuta omuntu gundi otisa abaana b'abantu. Omusajja yamala emyaka gigi ena meka mu nsi. Ate nga yeetwala ekyeyagalidde. Tewali yamutu. Omubali gwe. Bagala kujja tutulengako n'amagye. Oleeta akajanja.
Yogerako. Ebiki?
We have seen a lot of cases, more especially in Africa, where actually the rebels even have, updated guns than the government itself. But the fact that the African governments want to keep the Africans in the dark, that is why they are always afraid to let people know that there are a lot of guns circulating within. You are given the other scenario where you said that whenever there is a gun, they usually say they killed apparently like 6 people so far. Tell you that. Because first of all, within the public, it is a threat. It is a threatening thing for people to know that their neighbors are possessing guns. It is a threatening thing for people to think that wherever you are moving, there are some people who are having guns. And the government takes this as an excuse. Now, the fact that the government leaves people unaware and they having little knowledge about the guns that people are possessing out there, it has increased a lot of violence. It has increased a lot of violence. It has increased a lot of insecurity because the truth should be tackled as the truth. The people should know we have got people out there who have unregistered guns. People should be prepared. If I'm having my small mobile money, that means I need to hire a security guard with a gun because I know the civilians out there are having guns. Now, everyone is always afraid the moment you let people know there are other people out with guns, you're going to have a lot of people come against the government and all that. But at times, it is very important for people to know. Now, the fact that the African governments are shying away from this truth is the reason why we are having a lot of these things circulating. We have seen civilians posing with guns showing all over social media. We've seen Bobby Wine on a shoot. He was with the wife. They were shooting, in the in the wilderness. So, thank you.
That's why you don't tell anyone your business and mind your own business. That is from GB Jabba.
So we have that kind of thing that is going on every time. People don't want to admit that. Oh, Africans don't want to admit that we have guns that are circulating within the civilians. And this takes the people unaware. But violent actions still keep taking place. Violent threatening. I've given you the example of this Nigerian guy who was shot by the police recently after, of course, murdering two ladies that he met on social media. So if at all we have this kind of government that does not want to address the truth, and in the end we see that a lot of people are taken unaware. Now this guy, it was claimed that he was in possession of guns, and the police knew about him possessing these guns. In Africa, it's all about you having money. Nobody talks about everything is about you having money. Are you able to bribe the police? Can you bribe these people to give you the guns? Can you do blah blah? So we are seeing that a lot, and it's not only Nigeria. A lot of big rich people.
Everybody is for defense. The youth think through social programming, it is for ego or to say for passive slide.
Mm.
Omuliza polite.
No, this is just something which is obvious.
I know.
You cannot be someone having a lot of
I know.
huge amount
I
in
know.
transaction
Like
and
anti
you're moving without protection.
Omani government the way government does it, like because they fear these extremely rich people. What do? They provide security to these people. Like, check it. The government provides security to these people so that they don't possess they don't
That's all rich people who are controlling the government.
so that they don't possess these guns. Look at the king of Uganda. The security prior the king used to do with his own security.
Traditional.
Hmm?
Traditional security.
For who used to be with his own security. But when you look at all kingdoms in Uganda, not only in Uganda, even outside even other African countries, they are given security by the central government.
Mm.
Okitegeera? So that they don't become a threat to the government.
So that they don't create their own bukungu.
Nga olaba
Oli abugambe
omumbere.
mbu ago magye.
Nga olaba omumbere. Kitegeera kyali atandise okukola. That's why they were shooting to these people. They were having bangers and spears. Like they were shooting to them. Nga balina majambiya. It is only the two getmans that had the guns ate bino ebimundu ebyagondi. They had the bangers.
So we know it is okay, like Jibjaba said that weapons
Ate
are
okola
weapons
n'amasente
for
n'amukunga
defense.
security.
Totaliyo.
Ofuna amasecurity okola mu kaseera.
Totaliyo.
Chief Jabba says that, oh yeah, bodyguard is essential in that environment. And if you're moving cash, making bank deposits, collecting receipts, you need a bodyguard. It is yeah. It becomes an essential thing.
Now, the reason why we see a lot of African governments not allowing the Africans to possess guns legally, they are afraid of coups. They are because let me say like the kings should be having their personal guards according to the law. They should be having that like to say they should be having their own security that is outside the central government. But rather, the presidents of Africa prefer giving these kings security
And recently,
because they have pride. I remember, yakomao yagenda bweru nakoyo okubona abantu
yadduka n'ebintu by'abaani tiweetuusa oba briefcase oba yakabaka staff alina ebintu byamu byadduka nabyo
asobola kabaka yamugamba yeekweke
alina ebyama byadduka nabyo ebya Buganda
ayinza okuba nga kabaka yamugamba omusajja eno naye kali bulungi namugamba adduka ate nga naye amanyi gyali omanyi ebbanga lyamaze nga bodegaadi so those people because legalizing these guns helps you to understand which guns belongs to who and reduce criminalization. It reduces the actions of violence because everyone knows that every bullet that comes out of your gun is going to be questioned. The moment there is a fire that has been released, I mean, for a reason, for unknown reason, you should be answerable for that. Now, if at all the government wants to shy away and they pretend like we don't have guns circulating all over Africa, and yet we are having a lot of crimes that are related to guns.
I was telling you that like the estimated number of arms supply that was supplied illicitly, they're like 30 million.
40.
Over 40 million kind of stuff. But using is unestimated. Using them is unestimated. It means it is beyond than 40. The way they have been used. Together. Do you want to see the name causes it is also a different topic to be discussed about.
We also have guns that are circulating, and these are not calculated in that 40 million. But we also have guns that have been circulated by the military officials themselves that are, of course, you know, you have some cases where they have arrested military officials and someone says, we have a gun, we had hidden this gun somewhere. They usually bury the guns.
In a US, in the US, a private citizen is legally responsible for every round fired in a situation. That is kind of good. And Chibichaba, if at all you go to our neighbors here in Uganda, in southern Sudan, it doesn't care. Nobody cares about how someone uses his gun as long as he knows how to shoot. So there are no laws governing how someone is shooting. So every, everyone knows how, like, the law the law works with the owner. The owner is the one who is responsible for every round of fire
Mm.
that is shot. So
Mm.
the government is not concerned. When you go to Southern Sudan,
Mm.
that's why I told you that in Southern Sudan I can't survive.
Mm-hmm. In the US, a private citizen is legally responsible for every round fire in a situation. Now, people always know that you have to release, you have to shoot someone either when you are ready to go to prison or account for that, defense or explain whatever happened. But now, people are claiming, yeah, we don't know. We don't know. People shouldn't be having guns, yet you know people are having guns. Now, if Jim Jabba has a gun, he definitely is accounted, you know,
For
is
that gun.
accountable.
For
Now, in
everything.
Africa, we know this is self-explanatory. There is no one. We have got millionaires here. We've got people who are extremely rich. How do you expect those people not to have guns? If I,
And
Maria,
most of these
knows
people,
that those people
they are
have
dealing
guns,
in
why
those
is the government
businesses.
shying away from it? Mhm. And they are dealing in very many businesses. And by then, most of these rich people have killed. They have killed because there is a lot that goes along. There's too much that happens around these people. The relationships they have with people, the threats they have with people. Um, so I know, by the way, I know it is very hard to find a millionaire who has never killed,
It's a loss of time.
who has never leave me alone. Ah. Oh no, I did. Because I don't see them now.
What I was saying.
Oh my god, I'm not strong. You did say I'm ready. Just where did you get this? Oh, got it. A lot of rich people have ever killed before because well, given the environment and the people they work around with and the threats they find, at times it is survival for the fittest in this field of money. Because the truth to be told, there is little of clean money within the millionaires or the extremely rich people. Uh, the biggest percentage of these people is has got a lot to do with um let me say illegal stuff, all right, drugs, theft, robbery, and all that.
Mm.
And we do not support killing. We love everyone.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like but it's just the truth. It's just the truth because you see, in this world at times, when you decide to say you're not going to be a mafia, may Jesus take the wheel. When you decide to say you're going to be, when you have decided that it is money that you are looking for,
Yeah.
you let go alone. Mom, leave me alone. Kyogamba nkufumita ku mutima.
Iwe yakubira. Yetapikira.
Why you don't want me to talk about that stuff? So ndyera bitti togerako ndi amacandi.
So um, we see that uh, looking at looking, we see that currently trafficking of arms occurs almost in every region in Africa. So, however, this of course trafficking is usually focused in areas affected with interstate domestic conflicts, violences, or um, presence of organized crime and criminal networks, where the demand for illicit weapons is higher. So, as a result, most of the sales are targeted in, of course, in Africa. Ekitegeera, are targeted in Africa. So, and of course, areas in Africa that are mainly targeted, one of them is, of course, Libya, Sudan, South Africa, among others. So, the five. Off topic. I'm glad you put the soda down. Set to. Jada mosquito. Sorry, Jib Jabba. Yeah, Jib Jabba. These days it is water, water only. Team water. By the way, I watched a video on TikTok. Like, if you cook soda, coke, and you put a nail, a steel huh? If you put a nail in that coke after cooking it, that nail it can bend. I just watched the video on TikTok. That's why I fear soda from now. I fear that coke stuff. And they say that the cold one is bitter, is worse. That's what they say.
Okay.
So we see that the permanent members of the UN Security Council, and that is US, Russia, France, United Kingdom, and China, together with Germany and Italy, account for around 85% of the arms sold between 2000 up to now. So a trend that currently remains stable. So the higher participation of these countries is relevant because while trafficking of arms has been usually conducted by private entities or actors, these governments contribute to boost the criminal market by arming uh, paramilitary groups involved in insurgencies against rival governments, often conducted in contravention of the United Nations arms embargo. So these are the people that are, because the primary objective of the United Nations is to do what? Is to promote peace and security across the world. So However, the member states, they are the ones that engage in the selling of these arms to Africa. Okitegeera? At the end, they come to Africa. They pose peacekeeping missions in Africa. So they are the same. So they are the same people that are fighting themselves in Africa. Okitegeera? Hmm? So, the countries with, of course, an important participation in this legitimate arms market are also usually the producers. Therefore, providers are trafficked guns, specifically between 2000s and up to now, such as United States and Russia, dominated the arms market in developing nations. So, with both countries leading the ranking on the value of arms transfer agreements. So China and some countries in the Western Europe, such as France, United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, have also participated in arming subversive or paramilitary groups developing in, of course, in Africa and other developing nations. As a result of main producers and distributors of guns uh, have, of course, in common that developing nations with leading economies are very high, like developing economies or African countries have a higher demand for these arms. Together. So, we have seen countries here in Africa that have exchanged arms for mineral resources. A lot of countries, including Uganda, they have exchanged arms for mineral resources to these countries.
Because twawaki
Hmm?
twawakifu
Right.
abantu otutuusa nabo
Coca-Cola ketchup will make a copper pot shine brighter. Kitegeera?
Coca-Cola ne ketchup
Mm.
ekitegeeza babikuutisa masepiki gonna ne gatukula gati.
It promotes war and stability. This is what Papa General was saying here. So, looking at USN only, we see that the United States currently leads the expenditure of weapons in Africa. In fact, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, among the 20 global weapons dealers, 16 US corporations, including the Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and of course General Dynamics and Raytheon. So we see that the United States ranked first in arms transfer agreements with Africa, with participating with over 29.8 billion, accounting for 48.2 of these agreements between 2000s and up to now in Africa, the arms deals. Okitegeera? So we see that regarding the involvement of the United States in gun trafficking in Africa, we see that 70% of the firearms recovered of course, in some countries were traced to the US, and most of these firearms were not manufactured in the United States. However, loose state gun and ammunition control laws in the southern states have, of course, happened to favor the gun smuggling towards other countries. Russia is of course the second source of armament in Africa. Looking at Russia, we see that Russia makes over 41.7 billion in arms trade agreements across Africa. And looking at the Russia arms agreements with African nations, it includes 2 kilo submarines valued with 1.2 billion and around 200 T-90 battle tanks for approximately the value of 1 billion with Algeria and other countries. So those we are seeing that US and this thing, they are the people that are leading in this. I think that they are the same people that are on the UN Council. Okitegeera?
Mm.
So Jibijaba says here that it is acidic. Now imagine your stomach. I'm done preaching. It's okay, Jibijaba.
You should listen.
It's okay, Jibijaba. And by the way, those days back, I was getting like burning sensations in my stomach. Ebiseera bino tewandabanga.
Naye
These
ng'owulira.
days were binini si byamaanyi nnyo. Really, like I used to have a lot of burning. So even after eating, even when I'm feeling satisfied,
Naye ng'owulira.
I could. Ate nga neggulu namunyudde ate nga ne leero ngenda munya. Oba mwagala oba temwagala. Wanfuwanfu. Yamunya. Yamunya.
Me, I'm eating sim sim. I don't know if you guys know sim sim. Jibjaba, do you know something that is called sim sim? We grow it here and we always have plenty. I don't know how it looks so tiny like this. I don't know how you guys call this. You don't know sim sim? Maybe I don't know how to call it. I don't know. It's so tiny like this, You see? At times they put it up. At times they put it on bread or stuff. I see, but sim sim. Simi simi. Hadoko simugai. Yeah. That.
Chia seeds.
Now,
Looks like pine nuts.
now let Innocent share with you the sims. That one. Those I don't know how you call that. I'm a child die. I don't know how you call that. We grow it here in plenty. It's nice. All right. Sometimes they make uh paste from it. hmm Sometimes they make some. I don't know. It's it ground grain or not. It's a grain, I think. It's a I don't know. But it doesn't grow underground. It grows like how can I explain? It grows like millet, but it's not. It doesn't grow tall like the millet. It grows short. So this I don't know if you've ever seen it before. All right, that's let me try to see some in the US. Yeah, but I'm seeing gwe njaba tamanyi simsim guno eno guno musiri gwa simsim guno bagiyita batya oba mu luzungu God. I know millet with the locals ferment it. Does it make good flour? Millet? Oh, millet we eat it, we take it as porridge. We make flour from it, take it as porridge, eat millet bread, ferment it and make alcohol and local booze. Yeah.
Cambridge Business or English Dictionary.
Simioni. Simioni.
Subscribe identity module.
Yeah. I don't know how that is called. The millet that locals ferment it. Yeah, people ferment millet. You can take millet porridge, it is good in iron. And most of the tribes that take millet porridge, they have very strong teeth and very dark dent, very dark gums. But millet is good for pregnant women, lactating mothers, little children.
Wheat.
About it.
Engano.
Mm.
Abakola mu Kuwait kati. Developing wheat to be traditional. I mean natural. Traditional. Natural. Akola nkubya mutima.
Oba bwonya mubaamu ebirala. Nzoberamu akayaga.
Mbonera.
Seka muna ba mwogo.
Ntateka mu kintu kyonna. Obufumba bwokka.
Engano anti gy'omunywa. Obwo bwe bakuwa bubeera seeno engano ya bulijjo. Ebeera engano gye bataggyeeko kakuta.
Gyali engano ya bulijjo. Kiyegeze.
Anti ako ke munywa kaba tekali kale.
Kaba tekageze.
I'm not sure.
Akageze kaba kakakuta.
Anti ndaba abasinga mu diet, meat diet. Batwala engano eriko akakuta.
Yegeze. Abafumbi.
Neyeegeza. But it is carbohydrates. Oyagala carbohydrates zokka. Mbadde manyi protein. Yeegeza.
A type of wheat. Okay.
Any type.
Starch content which can cause other ill health effects such as inflammation and digestive issues. Okay. You know a lot about food and health. Think about incorporating
A health segment. I was here trying to tell INNOSSETU about stuff. I don't know. I really well, that would really work. That would really work. But unfortunately, like a lot of things we eat here, more especially in my country, that other people don't have. But yeah, we shall think about that. We shall think about that. Of course, me and INNOSSETU. Thank you for that proposition. Boyogera bogezi toke. Rumona. Galeri. Ndebera ko twinite ko bigyo no kuru.
Your audience is.
My audience is worldwide. Yeah, of course, of course, of course, of course. But yeah, yeah, and by the way, if something is medicinal, it doesn't matter where it is, as long as you want to heal or, of course, be safe. So it doesn't matter. And besides, people grow things. So when you get to learn about things, you can even decide to grow them. Mm-hmm. Hey, nzijukiza naina nobuchano. Yeah, thank you for that. I will definitely look into it. UPS delivers. True. True, Jimmy Jabba. True. I guess with the time, maybe we shall have um that segment, a very interesting one for sure. Hmm. So back ku topic mukama wange nyambira
Sina naawe.
waroha
Yogera.
navudde
Yogera.
manyi byakisiru
Yogera.
nabyekisiru balina bakozi baliwo
Okulya kwaffe.
olio nga ani batandise okukolera okwaffe.
Yogera naawe.
So this nagamba ekintu ekyo kiryatutuulamu. So anyway, aside, let's go back to our topic, and not to forget to thank, of course, Gijaba's proposition. Yeah, we shall put it into action. We shall think about it and see what to do about it. Yeah, yeah. Now, back to our topic. Really, you have been trying to explain to us different countries that are involving in the, of course, selling of ammunition to Africa. Russia, US, German was among
China.
was among the few, but everyone, a lot of people would be really questioning themselves. How comes that Africa is one of, is among the big clients to these people? Yet don't let me sidetrack. Let, don't let me sidetrack here. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we're here to exchange views. So yeah, no, you are not. You are not. We are supposed to drive you back. So yeah, I'm driving you back, as we are having your issue at the back of our mind. So you would ask yourself, like, why? It is very important that we have. Hey, Keith is right here. It is very important for Africa to keep on having this violence, because one, it is important for the market of the ammunition. So you can imagine that Africa has put down the guns and it has decided to, of course, reclaim its peace and freedom, and probably decide that we are not having more rebellions and rebels. You can imagine what will happen to the market. And remember, there are people who are designing guns that are purposely made to be sold
Yeah.
here in Africa. And they know we are making these guns for Africans. And we know usually whenever things are made for Africa, it is usually substandard things that come with a lot. you know,
Doing
but
a
they are
lot
not.
of bullshit. Doing a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. So, so and they also know that it is easy for them to sell their outdated machineries to
Exactly.
the Africans, because you're not going to start selling an outdated machinery to the US. You're not going to sell this to any other country. But of course, they know where the market is.
I remember, I remember there is time Uganda, what was even in 2021,
Mm,
Uganda bombed that place in Congo where there are Ugandan rebels, the
mm,
so-called Ugandan rebels.
mm.
And when journalists in Uganda were reporting about that jet that bombed, they were like, USA used it. No, is it USA or Russia used it in Second World War?
Russia.
Yeah, used it in Second World War, and it cannot be used in Russia again. It was put down. So, but we are using it here in Africa, and it was new.
And they were buying it expensively.
Mm.
So these people know. So aside the illicit armed trade, there is a reason why we still have this violence. It is important for this particular subject. First of all, we have seen a lot. Apparently, like everyone is trying to create rebellion groups, and most of these rebellion groups are founded by people outside Africa. We have
Um,
rebellion groups
all
that
of
are
them. All of them funded by outside Africa. Africa doesn't have any money to fund any groups. So they're all funded by outside interests, either the West or the Arabic countries, either or. They're never funded by Africa. 'Cause Africa has no industry. So Africa builds industry, and that's the reason why they have these outside funded rebel groups. So Africa will never develop, and so they'll get to keep stealing their resources. That's the scam.
true. True. Because at time I was usually baffled whenever you go through the list of the rebels in Congo, you realize that most of these rebels are named in English names,
Exactly. How
apart
about
from
that? How about
now
that?
somebody that speaks French. Congolese don't know English really. They
Exactly.
learn English when they're
Congolese,
out of
no,
Congo.
nor the nor the Wandese. Wandese don't speak good English either.
Uh-huh. But you realize that most of the rebel groups in Congo are named in English.
That's right. That should
Is
be
there
your first. That should
English?
be your first red flag. That should be a red flag right there, Maria.
Hmm. So that means there is someone who found this and named that particular organization in the language they understand best. And this is why these rebel groups are named in English. Now, when we look at most of these issues, there is the scenario of course, Congo. Sorry, Sudan. We know Israel and the Israel and the guns in Sudan throughout time, and we know how Israel had a big base in Sudan,
Yeah, you
and
know why, right? Know why,
and
right? It's called diamond. It's called diamond extraction, Maria.
mm,
Diamonds.
mm. And these guns were circulating all over. That's why you were saying that a lot of civilians in Sudan, more especially in the southern part of Sudan, have guns. And by the way, some of them even move with these guns to Uganda because most of them study here, others are refugees here, but they still
Of
go
course.
back home sometimes. And they're having a lot of guns. I remember there was a time when they shot dead
Maria,
one.
Maria, why, Maria, why are you guys not xenophobic like the South Africans? Like Uganda has a lot of different Africans too. Uganda has Congolese, Rwandese, South Sudanese, West Central Africans, uh,
Somalis,
Somalis. So why aren't the
Kenyans.
Ugandans why aren't the Ugandans saying, hey, get out of my country like the South Africans? Why aren't the Ugandans saying, hey, you other Africans get the hell out?
We have
So
like even the
all you South Africans that always scream, you Africans get out of South Africa. You're not the only country with other Africans. Some reason you've been kept so ignorant in South Africa, you believe you're the only African country with other Africans in it. You're not. You're not. You're not. You morons.
and here it's and here by the way at times I feel like that these people who come here like have a lot of liberty. And this is why by the way we have like a lot of refugees who prefer coming here. Ugandans are not like so segregative. And at times we find them socializing with these people and apart from you and they are the ones who try to bring that behavior, which is a little bit kind of funny. So, some people come as refugees now. You reach in a place for you, you want to claim, I want to have my own supermarket. We should have our own place where we are shopping. And still, and still will go and shop in your supermarket. They have no issue. They'll come to your butchery and buy whatever it is, beef you're selling over there. They even decide if they are Muslims, they decide to have their own mosque. This is the mosque of the Eritreans. This is the mosque of the
Wow.
Somalis. This is the mosque of the Sudanese. This is
Yeah.
now you're and they just I don't know.
Wow, that's
But
crazy.
we
Hold
see
on,
we see
trans in Uganda too?
what are we saying?
Hold on, you guys got Eritreans in Uganda too?
Yeah.
God damn. Damn, I didn't know. God damn.
We have a lot.
They're separate clubs.
They are Lord. We have a lot of Eritreans.
God damn. Wow. Shit. That's just as bad as Kenya. That might be. I got my. You guys might got more different Africans in Uganda than Kenya has. Shit. South Africa talking crazy. God, I know there's Eritreans in Uganda too. Shit. Damn.
There are many Vanilla said we used to work in one of their places. There are many here, except that when they love segregating themselves.
Of course, because they don't think that they seem to think that they're they don't. A lot of them are mixed with European genetics. They got conquered by the Italians, so a lot of them think that they're better than other Africans. So that's why
There are
they want
some
to separate themselves.
there are
Say it
some
again.
people that they love doing drugs and alcohol.
Damn,
They
good. Wow.
24/7. Most of them I see are
Maybe,
cheap smokers. They are cheap.
maybe the Nigerians are the ones giving them the drugs.
You guys were asking that what sector of employment do immigrants work at
Yeah, that's a
in
good
Uganda?
question. That's a good
Yeah,
question.
now it depends. It depends on the duration they have lived in the country. That's one. But most of them
Uh,
are in business and trade because that's the easiest thing someone can do.
mm,
Most of them
okay.
own hotels, restaurants, saloons, shops. Yeah, but for you to pass to, of course, to participate in the politics, you have to have lived in Uganda for some good time for you to contribute in that. But most of them are, even some of them have schools. Some of them they're almost everywhere apart from politics. I should say. They are in every sector apart from politics. Because we've seen some others, but we have not seen a
Wow.
lot of
See, you
professionals. We have not seen a lot of professionals. We have few professionals. And then when it comes to public services, you even most of the immigrants still attain public services. Some of their children go to public schools.
so
They go to
the question is, Maria, do the Ugandans get along with all of them? Because you guys have let everybody in there. You guys got the South Sudanese, the Somalis, the damn Congolese, the Rwandans, the Central African Republicans, the damn, yeah, you got every guy. I think you guys got people from Chad in there too. Do the Ugandans ever get mad about so many of the Africans being in Uganda, Maria?
no, no, Ugandans get along with them because most of the time, by the way, it is hard for you to tell because some of them really know the Ugandan language because
Of
they have
course,
that
they've been so long.
interaction. They have that free interaction that enables them to learn. And some of them still, they contribute to the culture. They also practice. And
Yeah.
people share this apartment. So you find you're living in an apartment where there is Eritreans and others, and people find
I know
they are
because
very.
I've never heard the Ugandans
Mm.
ever get upset about the other Africans that live in Uganda like the South Africans do. And I
We
know
have
it's a
not.
bunch of
By the way, the funniest thing, we have not had cases of Ugandans killing immigrants, but we've had a lot of cases
exactly.
of them killing Ugandans. Now that's the nowadays the Sudanese are becoming calm. But those days when Sudanese had just come, remember they used to have a lot of guns. We could see a lot of death that resulted from Sudanese shooting Ugandans in a club. People have issues, you sure. You have wrangles with someone you're sharing an apartment with, they sure. But I think because I don't know why, but now I don't see such kind of cases. I guess they have, of course, fit in the place and probably got to learn the Ugandan culture. All right, so they put down the guns, and we are now hearing South Sudanese shooting Ugandans again. It is very rare.
Wow.
It is very rare for you to see such a crime, a Ugandan committing a crime to an immigrant. It is a
Yeah,
very rare.
I haven't seen, because I was talking about the Kenyans not being upset, because South Africans seem to think they're the only African country with other Africans. I said, no, I'm thinking about Kenya. I said, wait, Uganda might even got more than Kenya. Uganda's got everybody in Uganda. You got Nigerians, you got goddamn Eritreans, South Sudanese, Chadians, damn Central African Republicans. I don't know what you call those cat Central Africans or something. I don't know. Damn Ethiopians,
Hmm.
Eritreans, shit, everybody like shit. And I've never seen on the internet where the Ugandans said all these other Africans need to get the hell out of Uganda. I've never
And
seen
Uganda is
that.
very small.
What you say, Maria?
And Uganda is very small.
I know exactly. It's half the size. Exactly, it's half the size of South Africa. Exactly. I've never seen that.
Mm.
I said, wow, that's a testament to the Ugandan people to be able to
And
absorb those many Africans and treat them good. That's that's wow.
for sure, Uganda being small, it is the largest country in the entire Africa that harbors refugees. It is the one that has the biggest population of immigrants, more especially the refugees. So Uganda having the biggest population of refugees, those people who are seeking for refuge, and this, given the fact that it is a very small, a very small, tiny country, but we don't see people living in violence. And it is very hard to hear Ugandans complaining unless if there is something that has been something wrong. the only time I saw Ugandans being violent was when, of course, the Indians killed a young Ugandan boy. They threw him over a flat. He fell down, and that's when I saw Ugandans trying to retaliate. And of course, and then we saw a lot of chaos, but of course it lasted for a year, and Indians started running away. That's the only time I saw Ugandans, of course, being
Oh, that was
so
that's different.
violent.
The Indians try to treat all African people like shit. Those are, I'm not talking about other Africans. I'm talking about Indians are different. They treat all Africans like shit.
Mm. So yeah,
but, but damn, that is rare. So shit.
really,
Uh,
I don't think that I would have any problem of having any African live in Uganda or blah. I don't see a problem in that, as long as we
so,
are all living peacefully and we are
exactly,
fine.
but y'all exactly, but y'all African, but you guys are not claiming that the other Africans are coming to steal your jobs. South Africans are saying all these other Africans, Maria, are coming to steal their jobs. They steal the love of the white man from them. How dare you, you Ugandan, trying to come steal the love of the white man from me? While the South African lives in this old ass shack. Crazy. I'm gonna do a video about that. I'm gonna do a show about that with the South
I don't,
Africans. I'm gonna look at Uganda and Kenya. They got much more Africans in their country than you do, South Africa. But they're not running around trying to kill them or blame them for their unemployment. And their unemployment has got to be worse than yours. But they're not blaming the other Africans. Ah, you no good dirty Sudanese. You no good Congolese coming into Uganda stealing our jobs. You no good Kenyans. You no good Rwandans. You no good Central Africans. You no good Somalis, Ethiopians, Eritreans, shit, Chadians, shit. They got everybody in Uganda. Shit. You go down the street, you go to one church, it's the Eritrean church, the Ethiopian church, the Ugandan church, the Congolese church, the Rwandan church. Like, God damn, how many churches you got?
I don't know. I really, but at times, I don't know. Maybe there is like there is a lot of a lot of arguments within the South African community, and the other
Yeah,
Africans, of course, are coming. But one thing that the South Africans don't really look at is most of them have not attained profession education that give them profession.
exactly, Maria.
I
Exactly.
know.
Most of them are morons.
And now you want every South African that is developing wants to be in the showbiz, all right? They want to be in the limelight, they want to be in showbiz. You see women are doing a lot of stuff, men stuff.
Preaching.
But so good, but of
You trying to
course,
say you trying to say everybody in South Africa is trying to be that Tyler girl? Make me sweat, make me holler.
where do like the sense from? Ooh. How did you like that song? Key.
Hey, she's South African. Everybody's trying to be Tyler. Make me sweat, make me hotter, make me lose my breath.
That it's a say it is a nice song to listen to when you're drunk.
Damn, you can't listen to when you're sober. I never been drunk, so I don't know.
There's that when people are drunk, they sweat. Well, yeah, in the water. So anyway, the South Africans themselves at times when they are complaining, I even I don't really understand because these are people who don't and first they don't like to work. The majority of Africans are party people. They Ugandans love to party, by the way, but they love to work. Not this is something, and I guess maybe this is why Uganda there is that possibility of course Ugandans living peacefully with other people. Now in South Africa, a lot of people are party animals, and this is why we have a lot of robbery. Because when you want that quick money, you just want quick money so that you can go and take booze and they drink and they eat a lot of meat. They love eating a lot of fast food. This is why even the men are complaining that they love eating fast food, by the way. And this is why most of the men are complaining that Nigerian men are taking their women away. You cannot be
Women.
eating
Yeah.
food.
See, you being honest. That's right. The South African men are mad about the Nigerians. They say these Nigerian men are taking our women. That's what they say. That's true for real.
Because if you look at why shouldn't a woman love to, of course, date a man that he understands better? But these people are. At times I look at that.
Oh, you being too honest, Maria. They're gonna come after you. They're gonna come after you.
They want. They want. When you look at
Yeah, they do. You know, South Africans talk shit. They gonna say, "Hey, you Ugandan lady, you shut your mouth and worry about your own country."
South Africa, most of the biggest population in South Africa, most of the people feed on fast food, burgers, fries, hot dogs.
Yeah.
So to say it's popcorns.
Yeah.
I don't know. But most of them feed on fast food.
That's true.
And it is a tradition of Nigerians. Nigerians love eating traditional foods. It is
That's
very
true
hard.
too.
Nigerians, wherever they go, they pack food.
They
Even
bring
before
their
they
food. That's true. That's true,
they,
Maria. That
now
Maria
you
knows it
cannot
so well. That is so true. That is so true.
so you cannot be a hot dog eater 24/7 eating and your tummy is growing to this size and then you want to complete and eating traditional meals, then definitely that's you're lying. And I think before even they complain, they should revise. They have a poor habit of eating.
Well, of course, but that came from being. That came because you got so many Europeans there, and their lifestyles like the European now, just like in America. That's why we got a bunch of fat motherfuckers in America too, Maria. Bunch of fat ass people because of the
It is
fast food and the garbage.
You cannot. Before even you complain now about the women, that is their problem. They don't like eating healthy. And now what are you going to serve your wife at the end of the day? What are you going to serve your girlfriend at the end of the day? So now when it comes to jobs, people are taking our jobs. We have Ghanaian people taking our jobs. We have blah blah. But are you educated? Do you have the profession to? Or do you think they'll just give you this job because you're South African? You have to have the qualification and the skills. And
They
they
don't want
really
to.
don't.
They don't want to hear that, Maria. They don't want to hear that. Like I said, As developed as South Africa is, the blacks in South Africa are some of the dumbest on the continent. They're some
and,
of the
and this is
dumbest on the.
and this is why we got a lot of Africans going there to do witchcrafts.
That's true.
Why? So that they are witch doctors, because this is the mind of the biggest population. All right, you want to get things through magic. You start. You think the moment I do this shit is gonna work so fast for me. They are not patient with everything. And then of course when they get smart scammers, somebody's gonna come and just say, I'm Baba, crazy shit. South Africa is one of the developed countries in Africa, and we shouldn't be having such kind of lifestyles. But we are still having that kind of lifestyle because when you're desperate, anything is possible to be
That's
done to
true.
you. It becomes easy
Exactly.
for people to lie to you. It becomes for people to play around because
To
you
to exploit you. Yeah. To manipulate you. To manipulate you and to exploit you. That's true. Because you're
South
desperate.
Africa is fighting Africans in South Africa, but we have seen Indians who have lived in South Africa for a very long time.
Yep.
Why didn't they fight these people? We have seen the whites live in South Africa. They have even taken their land, they have made it beautiful. They are not fighting these people. And now the Chinese boom, they have also come. South Africans are not fighting these people. They actually, we know there is no Nigerian who is controlling South Africa's economy. There is no Ghanaian who is controlling South Africa's economy. We do not have other Africans outside South Africa controlling South African economy. South Africa itself knows who runs South Africa. Now, these all petty quarrels, fights, killings, all right? Jim Jama says it's easier to fight your own. I guess. I guess. All right. Jim Jama says it's easier to fight your own. Now, this is the scenario with the South Africans. Because we have seen typical foreigners. It is not a word for Africans to call each other foreigners. Right? It is not a word, but we know who the foreigners are in Africa. But we have seen some foreigners exist in Africa for a long time. We have even seen some. Well, I was following some videos. Okay, to this question. Workshop against nenga jejjawo against
Amweddeko.
Hmm?
Amweddeko.
Data. No, yabadde kalabika kuba badde big cheese.
So, by the way, I've not seen like the situation that is in South Africa. A lot of people here in Uganda back in days used to move to South Africa, and most of them they came out. Is it because they were very intelligent? They come out with big sums of money. Some of them built even houses here, bought land, big chunks of land. So they made like
I
they
think most of them bali tebasobaiva
most of them were not educated. But
alabya kyaso.
but why is it that we are seeing a lot of South Africans, despite of everything that is going on in South Africa, even apartheid legacy itself that is in South Africa today? Why is it? Because I know there are schools where these South Africans can attain education besides everything that is moving on in South Africa. Why is it that like South Africans, the real black South Africans, remain with that identity, remain with that ideology? ekyalo y'obutasoma.
Drugs.
Hmm?
Abaana amasomero banywa njaka omwana yanaamala graduating.
Mm. I was looking at research. They said that kids between 12, starting with the 12,
Mm.
they're taking drugs in South Africa.
Drugs are the major cause of South African children to drop out of school and not attend school.
Mm.
And there's that harsh,
Mm.
that harsh relationship between the South Africans themselves.
Mm.
They have that tribal difference, a very huge
Mm.
tribal difference, a very huge, I don't know how to call that. Uganda is a country that has a lot of tribes.
Mm.
I'm sitting here with INNOSSETU, we don't speak the same tribe.
Mm.
All right, but you find that people are the same. We don't have that. I will even go and start living with lower people up the other side. And I'm fine, and nobody's coming to kill me the next day.
Mm.
There is little of self love within the South Africans and also love for themselves
Mm.
as loving their fellow South Africans. Now, because I've seen a lot of, let me say, too much violence that is really taking place over there, and
Unnecessary violence.
unnecessary violence,
Mm.
unnecessary. And I really don't know where this comes from.
Mm.
But sometimes there are things you look at and okay, it is okay for something. We have seen cases that people killing others and stuff, fighting, but there is unnecessary of this whole thing, and it is just extremely rampant. There are times I keep asking myself, why is it so? Let me first read Jiba Jaba's comment. It says, once you take control of the board, you have the pilot.
Mm.
You have to pilot it alone. I'm the captain now, Captain Phillips, the movie. That's why they go after their own. Yes, Jaba, you're right. And this because we have a lot of Kenyans here who run hotels. They're actually managers. And a lot of Ugandans in Uganda are working under these Kenyans. All right. We have a lot of Ethiopians, Somalis that have oil stations. Mm? They have oil pumps. And we know this oil belongs to these people. The other one is for the illiterate. And
They
they
have
are
even
running.
their own public transport.
They even have their public. So,
it is for the Somali.
so we know, but still you will find Ugandans parking because this oil or the gasoline places are not meant for only them because they are not even the biggest population. But you will find Ugandans coming and supporting, and it is extremely fine. You will still find them in different things. So at times we cannot complete or we cannot cohabit when we decide to say if there is violence, then let's do violence. If Nigerians are selling drugs to our children, drugs have existed in South Africa even before Nigerians started. Nigerians just chose to come to South Africa because they knew the market was high. They knew there was high market of drugs. So do they mean to say it was the South Africans doing the drugs during the apartheid over there? So the Nigerians? So Nigerians only came, those who are even still dealing with drugs in South Africa, they came because there was market in South Africa. So they were looking for market. And of course they found it. And they knew it was available. Who made the market available? The South Africans themselves. So we have, I'm going to give you an example. You cannot bring peace with violence. When in our home area we have a lot of South Sudanese. I've studied with South Sudanese in schools. They are very violent people, by the way. So extremely violent. When they came to around the area, they started bringing their violence.
Mm.
So one time, uh, a South Sudanese boy fought
Mm.
and killed a fellow student, and the student was from our area, of course. And everyone was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa, this is despicable. These people are so violent. How can the government allow this kind of people to, of course, settle with us? They should put them in camps and all that." Now, these people are people who used to rent houses with normal people. South Sudanese would rent houses with normal people. Now, they were asking the government to give them camps, but the people did not retaliate. So they let this issue pass. Of course, South Sudanese had their committee. The representative came on the burial, asked for forgiveness and all that. I got to go. It's a good conversation as always. Stay well, watch yourselves. Thank you so much, Ibijaba.
Yes,
Stay well too. Yeah.
Since
Since
mm,
since so these Sudanese, of course, after coming asking for forgiveness, it was child to child stuff and all that. But of course, the police had to take the issue because it was murder. So they could not let this Sudanese boy go free. First of all, they were in high school. So they arrested the boy. I think they took him to juvenile prison or whatever. I don't know. But he was arrested. And then, after some time, like the same year actually, um, a Sudanese old woman fell in the trench. She was drunk. She was from drinking from a bar, and it had rained so heavily.
Sudan.
Eh, oh, so this woman, she was from a bar taking alcohol, and she where she was going, it was a walkable distance.
Mm.
So it had rained very heavily. So she slipped and fell in the trench. Now she was drunk, that is one, and she fell. The trench was filled with running water. So there were little, Africans, there were young children who were playing in the rain. They saw. So they were like, there is this one there who has fallen in the water. And at times it is like in our place, by the way, when Sudanese came in our area, when you look at them, you cannot tell. Most of them now have got big asses. The women have grown curvy. And we used, before when they had just come, we used to differentiate them. We would know when you see a slim, tall woman, you would know that this is now you can't tell. They are curvy, they have got huge breasts, they didn't have these things. So I guess when they came and they mixed the food and all that thing, I guess changed a lot. So they started even eating our food and all that. So the children could not tell this was a Sudanese, so they ran. But unfortunately, they found with the old mama had died. Now the Sudanese, the next morning, hey, they got pangas. They started kuta. They started beating everyone. You must have killed because our Sudanese, one of the Sudanese killed a child from school. You must have done this. But there were these young boys who even ran. And actually, they had found that people were trying to rescue this mama after the children, of course, reported the case. But there was nothing like she was swollen or what or anything like that. So, the chaos. The Sudanese people started cutting people with machetes, and everyone was running in their houses. Now the border men said, "You must be joking." Because first of all, we know where every Sudanese
Mm.
stays.
Mm.
We know that Sudanese, there is a Sudanese in that apartment, there is a Sudanese the other side, because they are not the majority.
Mm.
So we knew. Now that people started coming on their doors now, they said you must leave.
Mm.
So that incident put all the Sudanese in their respective places. There is no more violence. You share the hospitals. You go to the hospital, you're on the other bed. There is a Sudanese there. They are fine. They even speak our language now. But they had come with that kind of mentality, that violence, and they had come with that violence. And people showed them that we can also fight. We are just letting you be because we want to live peacefully, but we can also fight you. We can also get the machetes, just like you have the machetes. We can also do whatever it is. So the Sudanese were like, oh, so these people can also fight. And then they are the biggest population. Yani, kali akamondo.
Awatali abaami kyagamulyako emmere.
Nako kali awo tebasosolayizinga nako nno. Kale kalimu olutaalaataala. Bali bano bambyenge nanjaga. Kati ate kutekabikola.
Keevula kayange.
Bagamba dde obusuuti ku ssomero. Tojja kunyiga eri.
So for me, I think um, like these countries, like look into Congo. Congo has experienced a number of wars for a number of years and with a number of rebels. So Congo people, they can't be the same. Again. So these incidences that have happened in Africa, they have created a type of people within Africa. Because if at all those people, like all their thoughts were on killing people in the village, what should we expect? Because they used to do that at their home country. Why do they do that? In Sudan, everyone is in law. Is the law in southern Sudan.
True.
So they think the same thing applies to other African countries, which is wrong.
So we knew everyone was like so prepared, but after they realized that these people can also retaliate, they are now calm. And by the way, some of them have been married to our people. Even the men have married the women. The women have gotten married. Because those people started staying there for a long time, but when back was second.
So the incident, John, you were still young.
I was still young. Now I'm grown. People have married their college mates, the people they have gone with to school, they have started dating, and they have gone to the university. Sudanese have married people from our area. So there is that relationship. There is that relationship. But at first they had come with that violence. And by the way, we are so afraid of them. Omwana omusudani, omwana ono akuleetera omusudani. Paka omwana agenda kufa bagenda mutta. Omwana omufumba n'amalako. Kati we bajja
Even up to now.
kati they have come down. Now they have come down.